The story kicks off with our main character waking up in a strange, messy room. He slowly cracks his eyes open, still half asleep and with zero clue what happened last night. Sitting up in bed, he wonders how the heck he ended up in a hotel room. Then it hits him he's not alone. There's a gorgeous woman sleeping soundly right next to him. But a notification on his phone from someone named Ziyadirga suddenly jogs his memory. The texts are pretty aggressive, with the girl demanding to know why he wasn't answering. The MC then remembers that she dumped him right after their freshman year of college. This just confuses him more, because she blocked him, but now she's acting like they're still an item. To clear his head, he decides to check the calendar for the current date. Seeing October 8th sends a jolt through him, and he realizes he's somehow gone back in time. He remembers her words, saying she'd found someone who truly loved her. Then we see his ex with an older guy, telling our MC to just get lost. The young man was completely devastated, having sworn he would love her forever and ever. Back in the present, he sees her first message was, as usual, a request for money. A smirk creeps across his face as he thinks about how love had blinded him and just how shameless she was. Determined to change his future, he sends a message to Ziyadirga, ending things between them for good. On the other end of the line, the girl flies into a rage, asking if he's being serious about breaking up. He replies confidently that they should go their separate ways, and she tells him he'd better not regret it. He's laughing at her. A blue screen suddenly pops up, congratulating him for activating a tycoon system. The MC is floored, thinking that with this system, his life is finally about to take a turn for the better. The screen displays his stats and informs him that he'll now earn money every single second, which gets him pretty pumped. Right after, the system gifts him a starter pack, and he quickly accepts it without a second thought. He gets 10 million in cash, a supercar, a shopping card, and a friendly scanner. After checking his account and seeing the transfer, he wonders what the heck this scanner thing is for. Just then, the woman beside him mutters something in her sleep, catching his attention. Getting an idea, he decides to test his new gadget on her, pointing the scanner in her direction. The screen reveals the woman's stats, but he's left wondering what the privacy attribute could possibly mean. Curious, he taps on it, and the system explains that it's the number of partners she's had. He realizes that the number 1 means he was the very first man in Yu Xiaoxiao's life. He then remembers that in his past life, he went to a bar to drown his sorrows and met her there by chance. He recalls finding her at the bar, drinking all alone and looking pretty upset about something. He realizes their night together wasn't about love, but because she was heartbroken and had a little too much to drink. In this moment of reflection, the beautiful woman beside him finally wakes up with a start. She watches him for a second and calls him a Casanova for the way he was sighing and smiling. With a confident smirk, the young man just stares back at her without saying a word. Leaning in, he denies that he was reminiscing about the past, which only makes her more curious. Then he whispers that his only regret was not meeting her sooner, leaving her completely flustered. Thanks to his boldness, the system rewards him with a card and a God Tirtong technique skill. He thinks that with this new skill, he can take the girl to paradise in an instant. With that thought, the young man activates his new technique and kisses her in a way she's never felt before. The woman is stunned. The sensation of that kiss was totally different and so much better than the last one. The young man then tells her that this was just the beginning, and the two spend the rest of the night enjoying the moment. The next morning, he wakes up, stretches, and notices a stack of cash sitting next to him on the bed. Completely confused, he asks himself if Yu Xiaoxiao thinks he's some kind of escort. He then picks up the note and sees it's a payment of 10,000 yuan, which really ticks him off. He finds the girl interesting for paying him but regrets not getting her contact info, then focuses on the card. The young man wonders how the item works, and the system explains it's a cash-back multiplier for money spent. Now, with this power in his hands, he's determined not to waste this chance and to become a famous tycoon. He realizes that in this timeline, several major tech companies haven't even been founded yet, making it the perfect opportunity for him. His plan now is to save up enough money to buy tons of shares in these future tech giants. Holding the car key, he thinks about how the city has no limits on real estate purchases, which is perfect. Suddenly, a beautiful woman approaches his car, and he thinks about using his cards to buy a few properties. The woman sits on the hood of his yellow car and, with a smile, asks if the vehicle belongs to him. Our protagonist calmly confirms the car is his and asks what she wants. Excuse, she asks for a ride, claiming a pipe burst in her house. Suspicious of her story, the young man activates his scanner to check the info on the girl, named Chen Liki. He's surprised by her high friendship level, but her privacy attribute of 28 partners sets off alarm bells. Inside the car, he turns down her request for a ride, saying that being with 28 other people is a bit much for him. He drives off, leaving the woman in shock and wondering how he knew about her past. She comments on how handsome the MC was, while the old man just stands there, completely lost. The old man offers to help the woman with her pipes, saying he's been a professional for 30 years. The woman gets annoyed by his offer and immediately calls him a pervert and a creep. The old guy is confused because his technique is top-notch, and he doesn't get why she's yelling at him. Disgusted, she tells him to get lost while he follows her, and the people around them start laughing at the scene. Just then, another man explains to the old-timer that her pipes weren't exactly literal. Surprised by the revelation, he comments on how weird kids are these days as the woman storms off. Running away, the girl complains about her bad luck and how everything went wrong that day. Meanwhile, MC arrives at a real estate agency and is greeted by two agents, a newbie and her boss. The manager thinks he's just some rich kid and palms him off on the newbie, Xiaoxia, so he doesn't waste his time. With an air of confidence, our MC steps out of his sports car and walks toward the agency. The boss then encourages the newbie to go it alone, telling her to just follow the procedure they practiced. The young agent nervously approaches him and introduces herself as Xiaoxia from the Lianjia real estate agency. The protagonist just asks her to help him find a house, and the woman asks about his budget. From a distance, the manager smokes a cigarette and thinks that the newbie needs to learn how to pick her clients better. Now inside the agency, she shows him some cheap options, but the young man asks to see properties in the 1 million yuan range. The woman is surprised by the amount but agrees to look up the properties on her tablet immediately. After a few minutes, she remembers to ask if he has any location preferences. The MC asks for places that are easy to rent out and says it doesn't matter if they're furnished or not. He watches her and thinks she's pretty inexperienced, but at least she's sincere, and decides to use his scanner on her. The agent then shows him a few options near a commercial street with varying prices. The MC remembers that his starter card has a 1 million yuan limit, so he can't go over that amount for each one. She asks if he's not satisfied, but he's just thinking about how to maximize the bonus from his card. He asks if the price of the more expensive houses can be negotiated, because if so, he'll take all 5. He doubles down, saying that if he can get each one for 1 million, he'll pay for it all in cash, leaving the agent in total shock. The MC confirms the payment and adds that he'll hire her to manage the rentals for the properties. The woman is ecstatic about the huge commission she's about to make and promises to get him that price. The manager overhears everything and bitterly regrets misjudging the client, wanting to slap himself. An hour later, the manager, now in a suit, presents the final contract with a total price of 5 million yuan. The protagonist signs the contract, saying he trusts her and that he'll contact her for future purchases. The agent is thrilled with her commission and wonders what kind of tycoon he is to already be talking about buying more. The system shows that he received 230 million back from his 5 purchases. With that, his system levels up, and he starts earning almost 1 yuan per second. He thinks the agent was his lucky star, and that he's going to make the most of this new life. Our MC calls the woman over to a corner, making her manager very curious. The boss says she should invite the client to dinner as a way of saying thank you. C then promises that if she sticks with him, she'll live a life of incredible luxury and comfort. Not knowing what to say, the agent is completely embarrassed by his bold proposal. She tries to politely decline, but he cuts her off and asks for her bank account number. Surprised by the request, the woman asks why he wants to transfer money to her. He just says she was his lucky star, and that this was a little something to thank her for everything. The girl is completely lost, having no idea what he's talking about, and just stares at him, confused. A few minutes later, she gets the notification and is shocked by the amount he transferred. The protagonist smiles, because to him, that amount is pocket change compared to what he earned with her help. With that, her friendship level with him skyrockets, and she invites him to dinner as a thank you. He thinks about how useful money is for boosting friendship, and how he loves watching the numbers go up. They add each other on WeChat, and the woman notices how handsome and attractive the MC is. This leads her to fantasize about a more intimate scene, and she thinks she wouldn't mind if it happened. But he just thanks her for her work and says his goodbyes, telling her he's leaving, which catches her by surprise. Not believing what she just heard, the agent runs after him, desperately calling his name. Already inside his sports car, the MC smiles and waves goodbye to her one more time. The girl is left standing there, embarrassed, wondering why she suddenly felt so empty inside. 20 minutes later, the MC gets home and announces his arrival to his mom, who was waiting for him. His mother greets him with some cold watermelon while his dad asks about his graduation trip. He says he plans to go to Modu because he wants to check out the area around the university he'll be attending. His dad agrees with the decision and asks his mom to transfer the travel money to their son. His mom jokes that spoiling the boy so much will make it harder for him to find a wife in the future. He asks her not to bring that up and thinks to himself that he won't let them down like he did in his past life. The next day, the MC is already on the plane, complaining about having bought the ticket at the last minute. Trying to squeeze through the narrow aisle, he politely asks the other people for some room. He spots a familiar woman and calls out to her, Zhou Ying, who recognizes him immediately. He confirms that this is his seat, and coincidentally, she says hers is right there too. She thanks him as she squeezes past him to get to her window seat on the plane. A guy in glasses pops up out of nowhere and tries to flirt with the woman, butting into their conversation. Paying no mind to the intruder, our MC asks the girl to take the inner seat. The stranger then complains, saying they can't just switch seats on the plane like that. The MC cuts him off, saying they're together and how they sit is none of his business. Once they're seated, the nosy guy ignores the warning and asks the woman what she's doing in Modu. She replies that she's going for work and then turns to the protagonist and asks him the same question. The MC says he was bored at home, so he decided to take a vacation to relax. The guy in glasses introduces himself as Chuen Shen and says he's also traveling to Modu. He offers to give her a ride, bragging that his dad sent a car to pick him up. The MC declines the offer, saying their hotel also has an airport pickup service. The guy asks which hotel they're staying at, and our hero replies, Amaniangian. The intruder is stunned and repeats the name of the ultra-luxury hotel that cost billions to build. He doubts it, because he stayed there before and knows a cheaper room doesn't come with that service, but the MC says he booked a villa. The intruder is in disbelief at the answer and asks if the guy is serious about the villa. The woman then comments that a single night costs 80,000 and is surprised to learn he's a rich kid. With a smile, he says she's a rich kid too, so she has no room to talk. The MC then remembers that she was the school belle and came from a very famous wealthy family in town. Back then, she was so quiet and focused on her studies that no guy dared to approach her. He was focused on his ex-girlfriend at the time but heard that her family ran into some financial trouble. Back in the present, the girl says with a sad look that she's not really a rich kid anymore. The young man realizes he's hit a sore spot and quickly tries to change the subject to lighten the mood. To break the awkward tension, the two start talking about the good old days in high school. The woman laughs a little and agrees that their high school days were really fun. With that, he thinks he's finally broken the ice and decides to use his system on her again. The system screen shows that her privacy is 0 and her friendship has climbed to 75. He wonders if she was already paying attention to him back then, since her friendship level was so high. After landing, a beautiful woman in a suit introduces herself as his private butler, Wang Yoyan. The protagonist is quite impressed with her professionalism, as you'd expect from a place like that. Our MC then asks where Jo Ying is staying, and she says at a friend's house in Pudong. With that, he insists on giving her a ride and asks his butler to take her to her destination first. From a distance, the guy in glasses watches everything and thinks about saving the girl to have a romantic night with her. 25 minutes later, they arrive and the woman thanks him and asks for his contact info to treat him to dinner. He accepts the offer but jokes that she'd better not forget what she promised him. They exchange contacts and our MC says goodbye, telling her not to worry about the ride. The intruder is shocked that the guy just let her go and laments that his heroic plan was ruined. Half an hour later, our protagonist arrives at his villa and thinks the stay was worth every penny. The butler then informs him that his bath is ready, and he decides to go relax for a bit. Suddenly, the woman grabs him from behind, and he jumps, asking what she's doing. She says the service includes helping him undress, but he'll have to handle his own underwear. Once in the hot springs bath, he watches the woman and asks her to wait a moment. The butler explains that scrubbing his back is also part of the service, but she won't be washing him. He enjoys the moment and thinks that up close, she's very attractive and a special service would be nice. The woman says she's only doing this because she felt a connection with him and starts to take off her clothes. With that, she gets into the water with the young man, and he's taken aback by her beauty. The butler then invites him to a hotel reception, and he asks what the occasion is for the event happening that night. She explains that there's no dress code, and our young man confirms he'll be participating in the auction that's about to go down. Arriving at the party with his date, he's greeted respectfully by an employee who recognizes him as an important guest. The woman then wishes him a good night and gives our guy a smile as he enters the main hall for the event. Inside the hall, the auction is already underway, and an item has just been sold for 5 million while he scopes out the scene. The auctioneer announces the next item, an extremely rare, famous brand watch that catches everyone's eye. The man explains that it's a limited edition with only 10 in the world, and the starting bid will be 15 million yuan. Full of energy, the auctioneer shouts for the bidding to begin, and the crowd gets hyped for the competition. Our young man analyzes the watch and remembers that its price is set to skyrocket in the coming years, easily surpassing 25 million. Seeing the chance for a profit, he wastes no time and makes the first bid of 15.5 million with his paddle, number 35. But another man with paddle number 8 raises it to 16 million, and the bidding heats up with offers climbing quickly. The crowd is stunned by the protagonist's bids, thinking it's crazy to spend so much money on a watch like that. The auctioneer bangs the gavel, selling the item for 18 million and congratulates buyer number 35 on the win. Two rich young men approach to introduce themselves, and our hero says his name is Jiang Cheng as he sizes them up. The blonde guy reveals that bid number 8 was his and asks if Jiang Cheng is a luxury watch expert. The protagonist replies that he's no expert and that this is his first time buying a watch, he was just testing the waters. The blonde guy is floored by the price and asks why he's never seen him around before, and Jiang Cheng explains he just got here yesterday for college. Surprised, the young man says that at 18 he didn't have the guts to do something like that, and is seriously impressed with our guy. With that, he invites Jiang Cheng to hang out sometime, and our young man agrees to the proposal from his new acquaintance. The system then notifies him of his new level, and he thinks about how his annual income now exceeds 300 million. Despite the cash, he knows that for his ambitious plans, this amount is just a drop in the bucket, and he needs more. Walking down the stairs, he runs into a familiar face and recognizes the woman he was with the night before. It's the same woman from the hotel he met at the beginning of the story, and she stares at him, surprised to see him there. She teases him, calling him a kiddo and saying she didn't expect him to be a rich boy, thinking he was just a poor student. The woman invites him to her villa since the auction is winding down, wanting him to join her for another night together. He accepts the invitation, and she jokes that he'd better put in more effort than last time, turning up the heat. Suddenly, a man appears and grabs her by the arm, revealing himself as Zhang Yu, the beautiful woman's ex-fiancé. The guy insists they're engaged, but she calls him crazy for wanting to get married after he cheated on her with her best friend. Zhang Yu ignores the accusation and claims they had an engagement party, so the wedding is happening one way or another. Disgusted, she accuses him of being gross and using her as a front so he could meet his other partners, both men and women. The system gives him two choices: leave with a reward or punch the guy to gain a physical enhancement and a bad luck card. The enhancement improves all his attributes, and our guy, without a second thought, lands a punch on his rival, leaving the woman shocked. He kicks the aggressor on the ground, and the woman watches the scene, seeming to enjoy our hero's attitude. He stomps on his fallen rival, and the woman's affection level rises while the other guy screams in pain on the ballroom floor. Desperate, the aggressor starts yelling for help, calling for the hotel security to rescue him from the situation. Security arrives and tries to de-escalate the fight, but the ex-fiancé yells at them to arrest the protagonist and call the cops. Threatening the staff, he says he's going to call the police and file a complaint to get them all fired. The woman then tells the protagonist not to worry, as she'll say he was defending her from harassment. The ex-fiancé boasts that the security cameras recorded everything and that they're all finished because of it. Suddenly, a man with a knife bursts in, and panic spreads as people scream, terrified by the scene. The intruder grabs the ex-fiancée and demands they bring him the couple who betrayed him, or he'll take everyone out. Scared for his life, the aggressor yells for the security guards to find the people the man is looking for to save his own skin. The system then gives him a new choice: escape with the girl and get money, or stop the crime and gain a new skill. He decides to act for everyone's safety, and especially for the special technique the system offered as a reward. Before acting, he remembers the item he won earlier and realizes the bad luck card could be very useful right now. The protagonist then activates the enhancement card, and a blue aura completely surrounds him, changing his body. With this, he feels a powerful energy flowing through his entire body and is surprised by the new sensation of strength. Wasting no time, he dashes at high speed toward the man with the knife, ready for a surprise attack. The young man lands a powerful punch to the aggressor's face, who has no time to react to the swift and precise blow. With just one hit, the intruder falls to the floor, knocked out cold, and our hero stands victorious before all the guests. The woman is shocked by the scene and thinks that he's not just a rich boy, but a true powerhouse. The ex-fiancé is also floored by the protagonist's strength and stares at him with a look of pure fear on his face. Our young man then approaches his rival, who is still on the ground, and looks down at him with a confident and intimidating smile. The people in the hall comment on how brave and handsome he was for handling the situation so easily. The police arrive and arrest the intruder, and one of the officers thanks the protagonist for his help in the commotion. But the ex-fiancé seizes the opportunity to accuse our young man of assault and asks the officer to arrest him immediately. The officer then turns to the protagonist and asks if it's true that he hit the other guy there in the hall. The woman interrupts the conversation and explains to the officer that her ex-fiancé was trying to trick her into a forced marriage. With that, her affection level for him jumps to 90, and he realizes the young woman is truly falling for him. He hugs her to comfort her and says he'll never let a scumbag like that intimidate her ever again. The officer tries to calm the situation, but the rival screams, demanding the security footage to prove his innocence. Angered, the protagonist decides it's time to test the system's bad luck card on this clueless guy who showed up. He then activates the item, and an aura of misfortune surrounds the ex-fiancé, who has no idea what's happening. Right after, the guy gets a call from the bank about a suspicious withdrawal of 200,000 from his account. While he's on the phone, a woman runs up and tells him a tree fell on his car, leaving him in a panic. The officer asks if he needs help, but the man runs off, saying he doesn't have time to deal with this right now. Our young man says he got what was coming to him and invites the woman to leave that chaotic place together. 5 minutes later, in the room, she approaches him worriedly and asks if he's okay or if he got hurt in the fight. With a smile, he replies that a loser of that caliber could never really hurt him. Even so, she insists on checking for herself to make sure he didn't suffer any serious injuries. The woman asks if he's going to look down on her for having a fiancé like that, but the guy reassures her about it. She explains that the engagement was arranged by her grandfather and that she only found out about his cheating with her best friend later. He consoles her, saying she's been through a lot, but now he's there to take care of her and protect her. The young woman asks if he minds maintaining this type of relationship, thinking it's easier than a serious romance. The protagonist hugs her and assures her that he doesn't mind and that he'll treat her well from that special moment on. The two then enjoy the night together, and the moment seems to be quite intense for the beautiful woman accompanying him. The next morning, two maids are tidying the room, and one of them comments on the stamina of young people these days. The other lady jokes that she wouldn't be able to work if her husband were like that, and they comment with envy about the young man. Later, at a coffee shop, the protagonist and the woman are having breakfast while he casually scrolls on his phone. On the screen, he sees a post from a classmate showing off an expensive watch he got from his mom as a coming-of-age gift. Our young man then gets an idea and asks if he can borrow her legs for a celebratory photo. She asks if it's his birthday, but he explains he wants to post a gift that's different from what his other classmates are showing off. The woman agrees to the prank and calls him a brat as she agrees to participate in the unusual photo he requested. She strikes a daring pose, lifting her legs so he can take the picture for his social media. She then takes off her shoes and continues to pose for our guy's camera, who is having fun with the scene. He takes the picture, thinking that his 18th birthday present isn't a car, but it's faster than a supercar. The result is a photo collage that he posts on his social media for all his friends to see the news. His classmates are shocked and envious of the post, while lamenting their own boring gifts. Shortly after, the protagonist arrives at a luxury car dealership, and a saleswoman greets him at the entrance. She offers to give him a tour, and our young man follows her to check out the car models available in the store. Inside the dealership, he sees an older man offering a car to a beautiful woman who seems uncomfortable with the situation. The bald old guy insists he'll drive her home every day, and that's why she needs a good car, all while trying to touch her. Our young man watches the scene from a distance and thinks that he came to the dealership to see cars but ended up watching a soap opera. He then recognizes the woman as Soo-won, a future famous actress known as one of the 4 little flowers of the industry. The MC remembers that her fame began with an iconic photo where she was getting out of a pool, which went viral online. Back in the present, the businessman pressures her to go for a drink, but she refuses, saying she has a meeting at her company. The old man gets furious and threatens the girl, telling her not to push her luck or the investment in her project will be cancelled. He tells her to stop pretending and accept the offer, or else he'll use his influence to get her blacklisted. However, the actress isn't intimidated and says her answer is no, regardless of whether he invests or not, and that he can do whatever he wants. At that moment, a blue screen appears in front of the MC, and the system activates a special mission for him to solve the problem. The mission is to help Soo-won and sign a contract with her, so he thinks he needs to prove he has the money to convince her. To get attention, he approaches the saleswoman and asks in a loud voice about the conditions for buying a LaFerrari. The woman explains that the model is a limited edition and that the customer needs to own 5 cars from the brand to be an eligible buyer. With a smile, our young man asks if she's saying he isn't qualified to buy the supercar. The saleswoman then says it's not entirely impossible, and the guy, curious, asks how he could get the vehicle. The bald old guy gets suspicious, wondering which family the young man belongs to, and decides to see if he's just bluffing about the purchase. The actress is shocked because not even Boss Huang would buy a $3 million car, and the protagonist wants the most expensive one, in cash. The saleswoman then warns that with customizations, the price of the car could reach 50 million yuan. With a smile, he says he knows the price and that it's acceptable, so the employee goes to get her manager to close the deal. Soon, the manager arrives with the young blonde man from the auction, who recognizes the MC and greets him excitedly in the store. He explains that he just arrived in the city and, since he's not used to being without a car, he decided to buy one casually. His blonde friend is surprised by the answer and says that this is a whole new level of humble bragging. With that, the blonde guy points to the $18 million watch on the MC's wrist and tells the manager he has a huge sale on his hands. Our young man stands there with a confident pose while showing off his expensive watch to everyone in the dealership. The manager is stunned by the value of the accessory and realizes that this young man is an extremely wealthy client. The man says the credit check is just a formality and begins the car registration process for the young man. The actress and the old man watch the scene, while the blonde guy thinks that he's never seen in hair as rich as Jiang Cheng. The blonde guy then calculates that the protagonist's fortune must easily exceed 100 million yuan. The bald old guy loses interest in the car and insists that the woman go for a drink with him, but she refuses because she has a meeting. Angrily, the man gives the actress an ultimatum: either she goes with him, or she can forget her career, and he storms off furiously. The protagonist then calls the actress by her name, and she turns around, surprised, asking if he's talking to her. He introduces himself as Jiang Cheng and says he'll invest in her project since the other guy backed out of the proposal. The woman is shocked and asks if it's true, thinking that he's on another level and could save her from her problem. The MC says he has other plans and that they can talk tomorrow, so she asks for his contact info to arrange the meeting. The two exchange contact information on their phones, and she says goodbye, telling him she'll see him the next day for the meeting. The young man asks the manager when he can pick up the car, and the man replies that it will take a waiting period of at least a year. Our young man is disappointed with the delay and thinks of an alternative to get a car faster than that. His blonde friend invites him to a car show in a few days where he can get one on the spot, and he accepts. Sometime later, he arrives at a fancy restaurant, and the blonde woman calls him to her table, waving him over. The blonde guides him by the hand and recommends the crab roe rice dish, which is the house specialty. At the table, several sophisticated dishes are served, and the atmosphere between the two seems very intimate and special. He leans in close to her and whispers in her ear that he's only interested in having a special night with her. The next morning, she asks him to let her rest because the previous night was quite eventful for both of them. The MC says he can do that, but only if she calls him by a more affectionate nickname than before. She then calls him hubby and gives him a kiss, and satisfied with the nickname, he lets her rest a little longer. With a cute little face, she compliments him and says he's the best for being so considerate of her. He then asks if she knows Su Wan, and the blonde confirms that the actress works for the same company she does. She then asks with a slightly sad look in her eyes if the protagonist is really falling for the other woman. The MC explains that it's not exactly falling for, but that he saw a lot of potential in the actress during their encounter at the car dealership. The blonde agrees, saying the company doesn't value her enough, but she has the talent to go far in her career. With that, she offers to help him get closer to the actress and says he can come to her whenever he wants. He calls her silly and assures her that he will treat all of his women well, so she asks about the investment in the actress. Our young man confirms his intention, but she warns him that to hire Su Wan, he'll have to open a company and buy out her contract. The MC tells her not to worry, and that he'll put her in charge of the new company, with shares and everything. She refuses the shares, saying a good salary is enough, and thinks this will boost her career. He gently scolds her, saying there's no need for such formality between them since they're already very close. She then moves closer to him and touches his face affectionately. With tears in her eyes, she confesses that before him, her life felt meaningless, and only now does she feel alive. While hugging her, he receives a message from the actress asking for the time and place of their meeting the next day. With a smile on his face, he thinks that the big star seems to be in quite a hurry to close the deal. Our guy pulls up for the meeting, and the actress greets him. She gets in the car and asks where they're headed. He replies, a luxury hotel for the meeting. Once there, she asks about the drama, and she's told it's a small project with a limited budget. Our guy's enthusiasm completely deflates when he hears the low figure of 5 million, and he questions the quality a project like that could possibly have. So, the actress tries to win him over, saying the plot is good and it's a fast turnaround, so she pulls out a script. Our boy waves off the script, saying he only cares about investing. He then offers to wire the money right then and there, and she's floored, having never seen an investor like him. But there's a catch. The young man lays down one condition: she needs to sign with his company as an artist. The actress points out she's already under contract, and breaking it would be expensive. But our guy says that's not a problem. The woman thinks he's handsome but is suspicious of his intentions, wondering if she should accept the offer. At this, the actress asks if he even has an entertainment company. Our young man replies that he'll create one if she agrees. He says he knows her current company doesn't value her, so he'll pay the termination fee, and the new agency will be all about her. Her friendship level jumps to 50, and she shyly asks if he has any special requirements. He says she needs to be a proper artist without any improper contact with others, but makes an exception for himself. Her friendship shoots up to 60, and she asks when they can sign. Our guy tells her to call him boss. Curious, she asks how old he is. The actress teases him about his age, questioning if he shouldn't be 18 instead of 20, since he's so young. Our guy smirks and says he was thinking of something else, so she calls him a little devil. After the food arrives, she thanks him for his help, but he says the only thanks he needs is for her to become a star. Just then, the system notifies him that he secured the contract and earned 20% of a company's shares. While eating, he thinks about telling his parents about his newfound wealth, so they don't freak out when he comes home. So he calls his dad, who congratulates him on his sharp eye for investments and the company's quick success. His dad calculates his annual income, and his mom jokes that he's been bragging to his friends about his son's success. Our young man asks if they want any gifts, but his dad tells him to stay humble and not get carried away. Ending the call, he invites her to do some shopping, and she accepts, playfully calling him her sugar daddy. After finishing their meal, she wipes her mouth, and our boy confirms they can head to the mall. They arrive at a super expensive watch store where an employee greets them at the entrance, leaving the actress completely stunned. Inside, she spots a familiar face and greets a senior actress named Lin Ru, who's with an older man. The actress asks what she's doing there, and Lin Ru hesitates a bit, but says she's just accompanying a friend. The older man comments that the young guy is talented and handsome, and the system analyzes him, showing his stats. The old man then asks who the boy is, and the veteran actress explains that he was in one of her old dramas. The extra then introduces himself as a film investor and offers his card to the actress with our guy. The veteran actress scoffs internally, thinking the other girl isn't on her level. Holding the card, the young woman reflects on how the industry is full of fake friends, just looking to take advantage. A salesperson asks our boy which watch he's looking for, and he says he hasn't seen anything interesting yet. Our guy then asks for models starting at $500,000, saying the cheaper ones aren't good enough for his mom. At this, the veteran actress is floored by the price, thinking about how long it would take a normal person to earn that much. The actress sits down and pretends to read a magazine, but she's secretly enjoying watching the other woman get put in her place by our guy. He walks over to her and asks if she's found a watch she likes, but the girl says she's just browsing since she can't afford them. Suddenly, the system gives our young man a random task: gift the actress a watch to strengthen their relationship, so he tells her to pick any one she wants. She politely turns down the offer, saying she'll buy her own accessory when she can afford it. Watching from afar, the veteran actress thinks they're just putting on a show and plans to embarrass them. The salesperson brings out a selection of expensive watches for our guy and helps him try on the models. As soon as one of the watches is on our young man's wrist, it practically glows, and the employee compliments how great it looks. The protagonist then asks the girl for her opinion, and she agrees the watch looks amazing on him. He mentions it's a bit loose, so the actress offers to tighten it on his wrist, leading him to make a pretty cheeky comment. The actress gets flustered by his comment, and her friendship level climbs to 70 thanks to our young man's flirting. Our young man wonders about the friendship increase, then stands up and tells the salesperson to wrap up both watches for him. Completely stunned, the store employee asks if our protagonist really wants to buy both luxury watches. At this, the veteran and the older man are in total shock over the $2 million purchase, questioning if he's just showing off. Our guy then asks the actress for help picking a watch for his mom, and the girl points to a very elegant model. With that, the salesperson praises her choice and details the prices of the watches, which cost over $800,000 each. He then asks the girl to try on the accessory so he can see how it looks on her wrist. Our young man remarks that the watches are way better than the cheap model on the woman behind them, who gets furious when she hears it. Ignoring their reaction, our boy asks to have all 4 watches wrapped up and hands over his card for payment. Right after paying, the girl gets ready to take off the watch she tried on to give it back to the salesperson. But our guy grabs her hand and tells her she doesn't have to, because that accessory is now a gift for her. Completely embarrassed, the actress refuses the gift, saying it's way too expensive for her to accept. He insists, saying it's just a little something and that it's already paid for, so there's no returning it. The girl still tries to refuse, but he explains that the watch doesn't suit his mom and that it's a welcome gift. Our young man then gives her a serious look and asks if she's trying to disrespect him in front of everyone. Realizing he's her future boss, she accepts the gift, and her friendship level rises to 75. The salesperson then hands over the receipt for over $4 million and also offers them a special gift from the store. At that moment, the veteran actress is fuming, wondering how a rookie could get a watch more expensive than hers. She then asks about her gift, but the salesperson says that, unfortunately, there isn't one available for her. With that, the older man gets furious that his plans are ruined and storms out of the store, annoyed with the whole thing. The salesperson then asks the veteran if she still wants the watch, but the woman, embarrassed, refuses and leaves. Just then, the system announces the mission was a success and offers a random cashback reward to our guy. He accepts immediately, and the system congratulates him on getting a return of 13,165,000. He then checks his phone, confirms the transfer, and with a profit of 8 million, decides to buy more gifts. They arrive at a handbag store, and our boy asks which model she wants, but the girl shyly refuses the gift. Ignoring her refusal, he asks the saleswoman for the most popular models, and the woman shows him 2 bags. Our guy then asks her to run his card and buys both luxury bags for the actress without even hesitating. The saleswoman informs him the total is 120,000 and tells him he's now a store member with access to future events. Seeing him spend so much money, the girl is impressed by the power and generosity of her new boss. After shopping, she thanks him and invites him up to her apartment for a drink as a way of showing her gratitude. He jokes that he needs to protect himself because if he gets tipsy, she might take advantage of him, which makes the girl blush. Our young man says he's just kidding, says goodbye, thanks her for the company, and leaves the actress behind. She watches his car drive away, thinking that he's actually a good guy, and her friendship level climbs to 80. With the friendship at 80, our guy thinks he's close to winning her over and that with just a little more effort, she'll fall for him. While driving, our boy smiles confidently, thinking that soon the actress will be all his. Half an hour later, he arrives at the luxury villa, where the manager greets him, letting him know his bath is already drawn. The woman watches him in the pool and thinks she needs to provide excellent service for such an important client. Relaxing in the water, our young man asks the manager if they have any special, expensive dishes on the menu. The employee then explains that the hotel offers various luxury cuisines like Chinese, French, and Japanese. At this, she recommends special dishes like yellow croaker and white truffles, which are the house specialties. He recognizes the super expensive ingredients and thinks he can finally use an item he got from the system. Getting out of the pool, our boy walks up to the girl and asks her to arrange a relaxing massage for him. The manager agrees right away and says they can go to his room for the massage session to begin. Once in the room, the woman prepares to start the massage while our protagonist lies down on the bed, waiting. With that, the girl gets on the bed and positions herself to start the massage on our young man's back. She takes a vial and pours a bit of massage oil into her hands to get started. Our boy is then surprised to realize it's a much more elaborate aromatherapy massage. The woman says the hotel's spa is a specialty and tells him to close his eyes and just relax his body. And so, she begins the massage on his back, and our protagonist seems to be enjoying the moment of relaxation. The manager continues with the massage, and our boy gets a little flustered. With a seductive look, the woman seems to be offering a much more special service than he expected. At this point, the intensity of the moment ramps up, and our young man starts to pick up on the woman's real intentions. He then wonders if he's overthinking things or if the manager is really offering an extra service. The manager announces the service is over and says she'll pick him up tomorrow for the car event, leaving our guy a bit disappointed, as he was expecting more. The next day, the car show is packed with various luxury models and tons of important people snapping photos of everything. Our protagonist arrives at the hall and checks out the place alone, since his friend had something come up and couldn't make it. He thinks the cars are cool, but the prices don't impress him, as the most expensive one is only 2,200,000. Suddenly, our young man spots a familiar group and wonders why all his old classmates are gathered there. Looking closer, he recognizes someone and discovers that she's working at the event as a car model. The girl looks stunning in her red dress, catching the eye of everyone present with her beauty at the event. A guy then asks what time she gets off work, but another classmate tells him not to bother her, calling him just a snob. The model overhears the conversation but doesn't respond, simply continuing with her job. Our boy then walks up to the guys, who are surprised to see him, asking what he's doing at the event. He then questions if they organized some secret outing, since nobody invited him to join. One of the classmates thinks angrily that they left him out of the trip on purpose and didn't expect to run into him. The guy with green hair points to another friend and sarcastically says our guy should ask him. At this, 2 girls comment that he's gotten much more handsome, and one even asks if he's had plastic surgery. The green-haired friend hugs him and says even his voice has changed. Then our boy asks if they're there to buy a car. One of the female classmates says they're just there to check out the models by the cars. Just then, the system displays the girl's stats, and our young man is shocked by her high friendship level and privacy value. He wonders why the friendship is so high since they barely ever talk. The green-haired friend then interrupts him, asking why he's so lost in thought. The green-haired guy bumps into our guy, who tells him to watch it. The friend asks if he's lost his mind for acting so strange. Ignoring the commotion, our young man approaches the model and gives her a wave, complimenting her beauty and her red dress. The girl smiles and asks if he's at the event too, and our guy says he's just checking out the luxury cars. He then turns to his classmates and asks if they're going to buy a car, but the other guy chews him out for the bold comment and starts talking about the car. Our protagonist compliments him on knowing so much about cars, and the classmate explains the model costs over 5 million. With a smirk on his face, he provokes the guy, asking if he's going to buy the car since he knows so much about it. The model then cuts in and telling them to stop because she's working and they can't be making a scene. The classmate then uses the situation to his advantage and asks the girl for help choosing a car as a gift for his high test scores. Girl gets uncomfortable and declines, saying she doesn't know much about cars and suggests he talk to a salesperson. The guy insists on talking to her, and our guy accuses him of using the purchase as an excuse to chat up the girl. The classmate challenges him to buy a car, and our young man provokes him by asking if the car comes with the model as a bonus. The girl finds the joke funny and comments that he's pretty bold for asking such a direct question in front of everyone. The classmate gets annoyed and tells him to stop showing off since she's working, but our young man says he's serious. At that moment, the event manager notices the commotion and heads over to deal with the problem. The manager then approaches and scolds the girl for chatting on the job, and she apologizes immediately. The rival then blames him for the scolding and challenges him to buy a car, since he's disrupting the model's work. Our guy then repeats his question, saying the car looks more attractive with the model next to it. The manager notices the expensive watch on his wrist and has a change of heart, saying that if he buys the car, the model goes with it. Without hesitating, our young man pulls out his credit card and tells the manager to run the full purchase price right then and there. All the classmates are in shock, since the car costs over 8 million, and they can't believe he can afford it all. The female classmate in the pink dress is impressed and wonders if he really has 8 million to drop all at once. The rival then accuses him of lying just to get the girl in trouble, but our boy calls him an idiot for thinking that. With a smile, the manager confirms that the sales commission will be credited to the girl. With that, her friendship level jumps to 80, and our guy reminds the manager that the model is included in the car purchase. The classmate is furious, thinking he's going to make up an excuse not to buy it, and plans to humiliate him if that happens. Our young man hands over the card and asks if he can take the car today, and the manager invites him to sit down and finalize the deal. The card machine then approves the transaction, and the payment of over 8 million goes through without a hitch. With the payment complete, the manager smiles and asks the model to take good care of our young man while he handles the paperwork. The rival is stunned to see he actually spent 8 million and realizes he's been completely humiliated in front of everyone. His classmates' jaws dropped, and the green-haired guy pointed out that our boy was way too low key in school to be this rich. The girl sees her chance to flirt and asks for a ride in his new Ferrari, boosting her friendship stats to 95. But the other classmate with glasses rains on her parade, reminding her the car only has 2 seats, so there won't be any room. The girl in pink then claps back that she can take the passenger seat since the model has to work and sits in cars all day anyway. Sitting down, our hero wonders how the girl's friendship level shot up so fast and thinks to himself that he can't stand gold diggers like her. Just then, our guy says the car looks way better with her in it. The classmate then tries to stir up some drama, asking if his breakup with his ex was because of the model from the event. The girl in the red dress is surprised to hear he ended his relationship. Our young man then stands up and says the breakup has nothing to do with anyone else, and that the lady is very beautiful. The green-haired friend is stunned by the $1 million watch and accuses him of pretending to be poor. The protagonist calmly explains that he aced his exam, so his family insisted on getting him a gift. The rival then gets annoyed and changes the subject, saying it's getting late and they should find a place for dinner. The gold-digging girl in pink invites our protagonist to go to the mall with her. Our guy politely turns down the invitation, saying he already has plans for the evening, but that they can catch up when they're back in their hometown. The girl in the pink dress accepts his offer and tells him to hit her up as soon as he's back in Rongqing City. Meanwhile, he says goodbye to the model from the event, telling her he's going to check out some other places. He approaches the model and suggests they hang out some other time, since they're classmates. Meanwhile, a saleswoman approaches our young man and asks if he's interested in any other cars, then points to another luxury vehicle. Our guy then pictures a romantic scene inside the car and thinks the vehicle would be a perfect match. With that in mind, our MC gets thoughtful and carefully weighs his options. He then asks for the car's price, and the saleswoman reveals it costs 9.5 million. The woman offers 3 years of maintenance, but our young man cuts her off and says he'll take the car. He then asks about a delivery ceremony, and the employee assures him she can arrange a big celebration for him. Our protagonist declines the ceremony, explaining the car is a gift, so he'll just send the address for the vehicle's delivery. Pink-haired streamer is live streaming and showing off the luxury car to her followers. She continues the stream, saying the car is gorgeous and that whoever gives it as a gift will find true love instantly. Just then, the woman points to our guy and says she'll interview him live if she gets 3,000 likes on the stream. Seeing the streamer just standing there, another employee approaches and asks if the young lady is placing an order or just browsing. The pink-haired girl awkwardly replies that she just wanted to take a look at the vehicle. Because of this, the saleswoman asks the streamer for proof of assets to be allowed to stay there. The streamer gets annoyed and points to our MC, saying he walked right in without any issues, but the employee insists it's standard procedure. The streamer is embarrassed as her followers comment that she's being treated poorly and demand that she interview the rich guy. Watching from a distance, the model is shocked to realize our guy spent 20 million in less than half an hour. She then reflects that even before her family's incident, they could never spend money so lavishly. 2 hours later, our MC stretches as the car's paperwork is all sorted out. A manager hands him the keys and asks about the license plate, so our young man thinks it might be hard to get a special one. Just then, the system pops up and gifts him a custom plate with his initials, and he finds that very thoughtful. An employee then approaches to help him with the new plate registration, and our guy agrees to proceed. Upon seeing the plate, the manager is gobsmacked, as it has the client's initials, and he's never seen anyone with so much pull. Our protagonist then tells the man not to overthink it, and that he just reserved the number in advance. The manager praises our young man's incredible luck, saying the choice of plate was very meaningful and impressive. A mechanic then approaches the car and informs them that the new license plate installation is complete. Seeing the VIP treatment, the manager speculates that our guy must be related to some big shot politician or tycoon. A few minutes later, the model walks up to our MC and thanks him for everything that happened during the day. The woman then invites him to dinner, saying she's about to get off work and that it's on her. Our young man starts to reply, but his phone rings and a smirk appears on his face. Then our guy answers the call with a hello for the person on the other end of the line. On the other end of the line, his friend is crying his eyes out, saying he broke up with his girlfriend and needs to grab a drink with our guy, otherwise, he's going to jump in the river. Despair, our MC is shocked by the news. All of a sudden, he gets a text from his buddy who just got dumped and wants to go drinking. Because of that, he ends up having to postpone his date. The girl agrees to reschedule, no problem. Arriving at the bar, our guy finds his green-haired friend drinking alone and teases him, asking if he was still planning on jumping in the river. The green-haired dude complains that he got totally played and feels awful because the girl he liked was just using him the whole time. He explains that when the other guy went to the restroom, she followed him, leaving him completely heartbroken. But our MC, already tired of all the drama, tells his friend to just get straight to the point and explain what really happened. The green-haired friend then confesses that he followed them both and saw them making out in the hallway, which completely crushed him. Our guy points out that they were never actually together, so there's no way he could be heartbroken, but his friend begs him not to be so harsh. With that, our guy tries to cheer his buddy up, saying the girl is no good and that it's better to just let the other dude have her. He then reveals that he heard from a friend that the girl's personal life was a total mess, and that he had tried to warn him before. Our guy says he must have hit his head and proposes a toast to forget the whole thing and drown their sorrows. An hour later, our protagonist helps his friend get a taxi, and the drunk buddy promises he'll have his back if he ever needs it. Right after, our young hero calls for a private driver on his phone to take him home in his new sports car. Just then, a woman walks up and tells him to get away from her boyfriend's car, because there's no way he could afford to pay for it if he scratched it. Our guy just looks at the woman with a confident smirk, clearly amused by the situation and thinking about how to respond. Instead, he just unlocks the car with his key fob. The woman, realizing her mistake, asks why he looks so much like her boyfriend. He shoots back, "Well, you don't look much like my girlfriend." She finds him funny and compliments his voice, saying he could probably drive that car with just one hand. The girl then makes a bolder move, asking our young man if he wants to have some fun with her. But our protagonist cuts her off, saying he's not interested and that he doesn't even have any classmates around. Suddenly, the streamer from before shows up and introduces herself as the driver he requested. Her name is Kiao Yinyan, and she's doing a live stream while she works. The viewers immediately recognize our guy from the auto show. Our guy jokes that she has to pay to take his picture and grabs her phone with a confident look. The streamer apologizes, saying she forgot and looks a little embarrassed. She explains that she works as a driver at night and asks if she can film his car for her followers. The streamer gets super excited to show the car to her followers, talking about how fast the model is. The live stream chat starts blowing up with comments about the car's license plate and how lucky the streamer is to run into a rich guy like our hero. The first woman then offers to be his driver for free, trying to get another shot with our protagonist. Our young man turns down her offer, saying that free things usually aren't that great. He then asks the streamer if she actually knows how to drive a supercar, handing her the keys. The girl assures him that she's driven plenty of sports cars since she used to be a car blogger, and the system displays her info with zero privacy. She asks if she can stream while driving, promising the camera will only focus on her. He doesn't mind the broadcast. So, our young man agrees, and they take off, with the girl holding her phone to continue her live stream. The streamer tells her followers that she's super nervous and excited to be driving such an expensive car, and that she needs to focus. Our protagonist thinks to himself that if it weren't for the system's zero privacy value reveal, he would have thought she was pretty experienced. He then analyzes her stream and notices that despite her popularity, the donations are really low, finding the situation kind of sad. Looking at the numbers, he notes that her daily earnings are minimal, even with a lot of viewers. Our young man finds it strange that she makes so little with so many followers and suggests she should just focus on being a driver to earn more. The streamer explains that she's not good at asking for donations and can only make content by showing off cars and the city to entertain her audience. Curious, she asks why the manager at the auto show was so attentive to him, and our guy says it's because they saw him buying another expensive car earlier. The girl is shocked to learn that he bought the car that very day and looks at him with a mix of surprise and admiration. With that, she floors the accelerator, and the live chat goes absolutely wild at the display of our protagonist's power and wealth. Arriving at the destination, she hands back the keys, and he compliments her driving, saying he'll call her again when he needs a ride. The streamer thanks him for the compliment and is visibly happy with his approval, seeming a little charmed by our young man. She then asks what kind of streams he usually watches, and our guy replies with a smile that, obviously, he likes watching pretty women. With a hopeful expression, the streamer offers herself as an option and asks for a little support to help her climb the platform's rankings. Our young man jokes that he's never heard of a free donation account, leaving the streamer a bit embarrassed. So, she suggests that he could invite her in for a glass of water. Realizing she's trying to use the situation for her stream, he decides to tease her a bit, asking what kind of water she has in mind. The streamer gets completely flustered by his direct question, thinking how the situation feels like a scene straight out of a movie or a novel. With her face blushing and breaking a sweat, she's left speechless by our protagonist's boldness. The girl then realizes there are only two possibilities for what could happen next. So, he turns her down, saying the water at the hotel is kinda nasty, but promises to grab her a coffee next time they meet. The streamer is bummed out, wondering why he went cold on her all of a sudden, thinking maybe she's just not his type. Then our guy says his goodbyes, and her friendship level climbs to 60. He figures it'll be a piece of cake to ask her out later. Just then, he gets a text from an acquaintance wanting to do a fancy dinner, and our hero figures it's some good social practice. Back at his hotel, he tells the manager to whip up a feast for 5 people, using only the most high-end ingredients. The manager lets him know that the fish he ordered costs about 1 million yuan each, and that's just for the medium-sized ones at the hotel. Our young man tells her to use some common sense, as he doesn't want to look like some tacky new money guy ordering 10 of those fish at once. Half an hour later, we get an outside shot of the villa, where the dinner with his new acquaintances is about to go down. His guests arrive and are blown away by the feast, commenting on the 2 super rare fish on the table. One of the guys is floored, saying those 2 fish are worth as much as a car and wonders how they could possibly be so expensive. The manager then explains that the Chinese bahaba fish is one of the most expensive seafoods in the world, because it's so incredibly rare to find. On top of that, she mentions the Italian white truffles and reveals that the total cost of the meal is over 3 million yuan. At this, one of the female guests is stunned, saying that with that kind of money, you could buy a mansion back in her hometown. Our protagonist tells everyone to relax and dig in, while the guests thank him for the evening. After dinner, a friend invites him out for drinks, but our hero turns him down, since he'd already been drinking with a buddy at the bar earlier. The friend then schedules a party for the next night, and the group says their goodbyes, waving to the protagonist. With that, the manager approaches and informs him that the bill, with a discount, came out to almost 3 million yuan. The system then congratulates him on a 149 million yuan rebate that's been deposited into his account. Our young man is shocked, thinking the dinner was totally worth it since he made a huge profit from the feast. The woman confirms the payment and says her goodbyes, telling him to call if he needs anything at the hotel. Back in his room, our hero grabs his phone and hops on the streamer's live feed to check out her profile. Watching the stream, he notices the girl has a high attractiveness score, something he hadn't picked up on before. Then the system gifts him 3 million coins, and his account on the platform levels up to 65. He decides to change his username to Dinghai Shenzhen and drops a comment in the pink-haired girl's live chat. The streamer is in shock seeing such a high-level account on her stream, having never seen anything like it. She welcomes him and explains there's a big guild battle happening that night. The popularity battle kicks off, and the girl faces off against another woman in a donation showdown on the stream. Our protagonist uses his system to analyze the opponent and discovers she has pretty low stats. He's confused by the rival's beauty score and thinks his friend should win this battle easily. The opponent then taunts the girl saying she got lucky to run into her and that she's gonna win with no effort. The girl laments her bad luck, saying she needs to win or she won't be able to make rent for her apartment. The rival then mocks her and tells her to ask her biggest supporter to go easy on her in the competition. With that, the system gives our hero a mission: help the streamer win in exchange for a huge rebate. The streamer then tries to be alluring and asks if her big supporter has any special requests for her. Our young man blushes, thinking that now things might actually change between them. She then asks her followers for donations to pay some medical fees and liven up the channel. The girl rolls her eyes at her fans' comments, who don't feel like spending money on her stream. She quickly changes her tone and praises her viewers, saying that everyone there is super talented. The protagonist then decides to start the fun and resolves to donate 5 weak chickens to her. With a smile, the streamer thanks him for the donation towards the medical fees she asked for. But inside she's floored, thinking that such a powerful account was being stingy by donating only 1 yuan. The battle continues and the girl sighs in frustration, seeing her opponent is winning by a landslide. Someone in the chat makes a proposition, and she agrees to be his private driver if he helps her win. Just then, our hero sends 3 super rockets, which are the most expensive gifts on the platform. The streamer's jaw drops when she receives the gifts, since each rocket costs 2,000. She thanks him profusely, and the scoreboard completely flips, leaving her opponent totally speechless. The opponent is furious, wondering how such a powerful donor appeared out of nowhere to help her. The rival thanks the donor and asks him out, leaving the other streamer feeling awkward. Pink-haired girl starts singing a song way off key to cheer up her donor. Our protagonist watches the whole thing with a smirk and tells her to do whatever she wants on the stream. Meanwhile, her opponent is in tears, begging her top supporter not to lose the battle. And with that, the battle between the 2 streamers finally kicks off for real on the platform. The opponent celebrates like crazy after getting 3 rockets at once and thanks her benefactor. Seeing this, our hero finds it amusing and decides to send 3 more rockets to his friend. The rival then panics and warns her supporter that the other donor is catching up. With that, she gets 5 more rockets and thanks him profusely, while the other girl looks defeated. Our young guy gets a kick out of the situation and wonders what the pink-haired girl will do now. The pink-haired streamer is so confused she even asks if her stream froze from all the gifts. Suddenly, 20 rockets pop up all at once, leaving her completely stunned by the donation. Her opponent just stares at her screen, speechless, wondering if the other girl's benefactor is even still there. The girl is floored when she realizes she got 20 rockets and might have just won the round. The rival then appears, looking all gloomy and humiliated after losing the battle in a landslide. Her stream then surpasses 10,000 viewers, and the girl is blown away by the number of people watching. She thanks our young guy profusely and asks what he'd like her to do now on the broadcast. Our hero thinks the beauty filter makes her look weird, so he asks her to turn the effect off. This makes the girl nervous, and she says she might scare him off if she shows her real face. Even so, she decides to turn off the filter, already bracing herself for the nasty comments that are sure to follow. When she turns off the effect, everyone is shocked by her real beauty and floods the chat with compliments. She's surprised to get fans and praise instead of the hate she was expecting. So, she asks the donor for help to win 1 more round so she can keep streaming next month. And so, the second round of the battle begins, and her opponent is now a blonde girl with hair just like the main character from Sailor Moon. The new rival introduces herself and compliments the other girl's supporter, saying she's super jealous of him. Next, the blonde tries to flirt with the other girl's benefactor, inviting him over to her own stream. The battle then starts and the pink-haired girl asks her supporter not to let her lose. The opponent gets 5 planes and 33 hearts from her donor and thanks him a ton. Our young guy thinks that donation is weak and decides to send 5 rockets just to mess with the other dude. The pink-haired girl thanks him for the 5 rockets and says our young guy is a true god. The blonde is totally confused and calls out for her supporter, who just vanished into thin air. With our young guy's support, the pink-haired girl easily makes it to the event's grand final. In the finals, she meets Dai Xiaomei, one of the platform's biggest streamers, who greets her. Haired girl is shocked to find out her opponent is one of the site's big 3. She says she doesn't have any talents, so her rival decides to kick things off with a little dance for her supporters. The opponent thinks to herself that she's already done her research and knows a mysterious donor has spent almost 800,000. With that, the woman starts a pretty daring dance to impress the stream's audience. She continues her sultry performance near the microphone to heat things up. 2 minutes later, the dance is over, and the streamer blows a kiss to the camera, full of confidence. Our hero watches and compliments the dance, saying it almost made him want to hop over to the rival's stream. Seeing this, the pink-haired girl gets sad and asks if he's going to abandon her now. The MC smiles and jokes about the rival calling him bro, saying that if it were a group activity, he might consider it. Suddenly, a suggestive thought bubble shows the two of them together, and the pink-haired girl looks surprised. She gets all red and flustered at the group activity idea our young guy suggested. The girl in pink thinks she's going to need some help to win, as the chat points out her opponent has already hit 800,000. So she begs our hero to save her, promising to learn any dance he wants to see. But her opponent receives 9 super rockets, and the streamer gets worried about the situation. The girl thanks him for the 2 rockets, saying that without them, she wouldn't be able to pay her medical bills. Our hero sees the chat making fun of her and thinks the rockets he sent might as well have been birthday candles, and that this girl is a master of sarcasm. He then remembers the system gave him millions, and that with his bank account, he can win this battle easily. Suddenly, the girl in pink's stream seems to freeze with 20 rockets, and she wonders if her screen is bugging out again. But she realizes it's not frozen. Our boy just sent another 20 super rockets, getting her all hyped up. Meanwhile, our guy is watching everything on his phone as the chat goes absolutely wild over the comeback. The streamer gets emotional, thinking this is a battle of the gods and that mortals like her just get to enjoy the show. She then thanks her supporter for the help with her expenses and makes a heart with her hands to show her gratitude. Just like that, the score completely flips, and now she's winning by a landslide while the chat just won't stop spamming. Her opponent is left exhausted and speechless, as she never, in a million years, expected to lose this battle. Looking at her phone, she realizes her rockets have stopped, but the other girls just keep pouring in non-stop. The rival streamer is shocked to see 1,500,000 in donations on the other channel. She's never seen that much money in her entire life. She then begs her supporters not to stop and to keep sending donations. But one of her top donors gives up on the battle, saying it's better to save it for next time, leaving her completely stunned. Our hero then declares victory with 2 more rockets, and the battle finally comes to an end. The girl in pink celebrates her victory, and the chat starts buzzing about the mysterious donor who helped her. With that, she's so moved by the win that she takes a deep bow in gratitude for everything. She then offers him her contact info and promises to learn anything to please her benefactor. He turns down the offer, but she insists on being his driver, so our young man agrees and tells her where to meet him. So when the chat recognizes our hero as the guy from the car show, and his secret is out. Streamer is shocked to discover the identity of her mysterious donor, and the chat confirms he owns a Ferrari. She wonders why he would help her, and her friendship level with him jumps to 85 as she picks up her phone. Our hero thinks that with the friendship level this high, he really has no choice but to accept her offer. The system then congratulates him on the victory and gives him a rebate of over 2 million yuan. With a satisfied smirk, our young man accepts the system's reward without a second thought. He reflects that after showing off and spending all that cash, he still turned a profit of millions, thinking to himself that winning is just too easy. The next day, he wakes up to a message from the streamer offering to be his driver. Our hero looks at the message and thinks that she sure is an early bird. Meanwhile, she confesses she was too anxious to sleep and wonders when he's going to reply. Brushing his teeth, he figures that since he's going to a club, he's actually going to need a driver. The streamer then celebrates excitedly because her master finally answered her message. She decides to get some sleep so she can be at her best for their meeting that night. But the young woman is so anxious she can't fall asleep and has to force herself to rest for later. At 8 p.m., he meets her and asks why she arrived so early, and she replies that it's her duty. She then tells him about the club, and he asks her to take him there to check the place out. Arriving there, 2 women comment how handsome our hero is and that his watch looks expensive. Our MC is the G, after all. Inside the venue, a bunch of girls are checking him out, and one of them says she's going to make a move on him. 3 women approach him and offer to teach our hero how to have a good time tonight. Suddenly, a girl in a bunny costume stumbles and conveniently falls right into his arms. She apologizes and thanks him, and our young man thinks they're being pretty intense, considering he hasn't even made it past the entrance yet. 2 other girls watch the scene and plot to take the MC to a private room to have some fun. The streamer watches from a distance as our hero gets surrounded by a crowd of beautiful women, not knowing what to say. A streamer watches from afar as our hero gets surrounded by a crowd of beautiful women. She feels a pang in her chest and decides she can't take this situation for one more second. With that, she pushes her way through the crowd and grabs our hero's hand, much to his surprise. Then she announces to everyone that he's already taken, leaving the other girls completely stunned by her bold move. Just like that, the other women walk away disappointed, saying they'll just find another target at the party. Pulls her closer and asks, "Since when am I taken?" Leaving the girl totally flustered. She explains that she just saw he couldn't turn them down and wanted to help so he wouldn't get any funny ideas. Our hero thanks her but says that next time it won't be necessary and that he was doing just fine on his own. At that moment, a friend of his shows up and asks if he wasn't spooked by the mob at the entrance. His buddy jokes that the first time he came, it wasn't this wild, and asks who the lovely lady with him is. He introduces her as his driver, and the friend says there's no problem with her joining the party. The acquaintance then says the three of them are going to have a blast, and that everything is already set up for their night. The girl is left speechless and blushing beet red over the whole situation. The group then enters the party, and our hero strolls through the main room, filled with lights and people dancing. Suddenly, a woman calls out, "Young Master Jiang," and the group stops to see who it is. It was a group of women who greet him, all calling him Young Master Jiang. With a smile, he waves back and says the party setup is perfect for their night out. The friend then asks the manager, bring 2 bottles of some expensive booze to get the party started. At this, the streamer is visibly impressed, commenting that she's only ever seen that drink in videos online. The MC jokes with his buddy, saying the drinks are nothing compared to the fish he had for dinner. The acquaintance then reveals to the girls that our hero's dinner cost a whopping 3 million. The ladies are completely floored by the absurd price of the meal and can't believe what they're hearing. Right after, a few waitresses in bunny outfits bring the drinks over to the group's table. The drinks are poured into their glasses, and the group's party finally gets going for real. A young woman named Xiao Qing makes a toast with our hero, and the system takes the opportunity to analyze her stats. The MC is surprised by her high attributes, thinking himself that she's a first-class rarity. That the two clink glasses and get ready to enjoy their night at the club. Seeing the scene unfold, the streamer once again feels that strange, tight, suffocating sensation in her chest. She gets jealous, wondering why her biggest donor is now with another woman, so she walks right up and offers a toast to our protagonist as well. Our hero offers the streamer a drink, telling her to have some to unwind after the long night. She refuses, saying she still has to drive, and he teases her, asking if she thinks she can still handle it. He leans in closer and asks if she wants a better look, since she seems to be having trouble seeing. Our hero thinks to himself that his main objective for the night is the other girl, so he needs to brush the streamer aside for now. Just then, Xiao Qing stands up and says she's going to go dance for a bit, but she'll be back later for a drink with him. The MC wraps his arm around the streamer and tells her to let him get a better look at her when he gets back. She gets all flustered, thinking that streamers are supposed to be demure and modest. With that, she shoves him away and asks if he thinks she's that kind of easy girl. He gets annoyed, thinking he spent millions on her, and now she's playing hard to get. Our hero then stands up, leaving the streamer sitting there, completely confused by his reaction. Seriously, folks, she must think our Gyo 8 is some kind of fool. Then our boy looks over at the dance floor, where Xiao Qing and another young woman are pole dancing. Xiao Qing dances sensually, and then asks him what he thought of her performance. Another girl also approaches and asks for his opinion on her dance moves. Our hero compliments them both, saying it was incredibly energetic and that even his friend was applauding their performance. The girl in red gets closer to him and says she would really like to get to know him better. The girl in the red dress gets closer to our MC and says that just hearing him talk is getting her all fired up. The other girl scoots in closer too. She says Jiang can't play favorites, cause she's dying to get to know his friend too. With both girls on his arms, our MC thinks to himself that wherever you've got women, you've got a war. One of them asks what he does for fun, and the other chimes in that she'd rather just stay home and watch some movies. Jiang feels like he's caught in the middle of a storm and has no idea how long his sanity will last, so he just says he likes the idea and that the three of them can watch a movie together later. Cause hey, the more the merrier. The whole group makes a toast to our MC. His buddy and Kyo Yin just watch as the girls praise Jiang's sense of humor. The blonde friend tries to toast with Jiang, calling him bro. Meanwhile, Kyo Yin tries to cut in, but can't get a word in. The two new girls get even closer to Jiang, both of them saying they want to toast with him, too. Kyo Yin gets pretty salty and wonders if he's ignoring her just because she said she wasn't an easy girl. She keeps thinking that, even though she's not easy, if he had actually proposed something serious, she would have considered it. Kyo Yin is fuming because she came ready for the night, knowing something was supposed to go down, but since she's never done this before, she didn't know what to say or do, and she's bummed he didn't give her a little more time. Jiang thinks to himself that the plan worked perfectly. Kyo Yin's score hit 90. reaching the exact limit he wanted. For the next 2 hours, he drank and joked around with the two girls. He didn't pay Kyo-yin any attention, not even for a second. And just like that, it was time to go. Our MC's friend says his goodbyes, while one of the girls says that next time, they'll continue the party to watch that movie. From across the street, Ki-yin waves from inside her car. She yells, "Boss, over here." Jang then opens the door to a taxi. He puts both of the girls inside the vehicle. The two girls look totally confused inside the car. Our MC just flashes a smile at them, and they have no clue what's going on. With a grin on his face, he shuts the taxi door, leaving the two of them surprised inside. He hands a thick wad of cash to the driver. Our MC tells him to get the two girls home safely and keep the change, making sure they get there okay. The taxi then drives off, leaving Jang all alone in the middle of the street as he watches the car pull away. From inside the cab, the two girls scream his name. They're wondering what the heck is happening. Our MC then walks over to Kyo-yin's car. He asks what she's doing just sitting there and if she's his designated driver. Half an hour later, now in the hotel room, Jang questions the girl. He wants to know why she came into his room. Kyo-yin says it's already super late and it's dangerous to get a cab. She then asks if she could maybe sleep there for the night. While wiring her money for a cab, Jang teases her. He asks if she didn't just say she wasn't that type of easy girl. The streamer gets all flustered and says that was just something to say. Our MC then tells her to call a cab and go home. Kyo-yin refuses to leave. She gets closer to Jang in the room and says she's not going anywhere. Jang then says it's fine if she doesn't go. He tells her there are plenty of rooms there, and she can pick whichever one she wants. The pink-haired girl asks if she can't just sleep with him. Since the bed is so big, Jang replies that he's not used to sleeping with strangers. The streamer then sits on the bed, thinking everything is going according to plan. She figures all it needs is one final little push, and that if she doesn't make a move, he won't. We see their feet getting closer. Looks like it's gonna be a long night. All of a sudden, Kyo-yin sits down on the floor and starts crying. Jang asks why she's crying. The girl asks if he hates her, because everything was fine at first, but now that she wants to sleep with him, he's rejecting her. Our MC thinks that having a privacy stat of 0 has its downsides too. He really doesn't get any of this stuff between men and women. He then tells her to forget it and come closer, but asks her to stop crying for now. Next thing you know, the two get real close and share a very special moment. 30 seconds later, things are only getting more intense. Holding his hand, Kyo-yin confesses her feelings. She says she truly likes Jang Cheng. The story explains that she fell for him the moment she found out he was Dinghai Shenzhen, her mysterious benefactor from the stream. She wonders what girl doesn't dream of a Prince Charming showing up to rescue her at her lowest point. With tears in her eyes, the streamer confesses her feelings once more. Our MC then pulls her into a tight hug. Jang then picks her up in his arms. He says he gets it and that he won't kick her out, telling the girl to stay there for the night. The streamer lies down on the bed. She looks ready for whatever comes next. Then our MC gets closer to her. The two start sharing all their love. And just like that, the two lovebirds spend an intense night together, complete with little angels and everything to celebrate the moment. The next day at an office, we see Suwon walk into a room, calling for manager Yu. Yu, sitting at her desk, recognizes her and asks what she's doing there. Right then, Suwon asks if the manager knows our hero, and Yu confirms she met him on a trip. Yu then explains that she's getting ready to sign a contract with him and that Suwon shouldn't be in a rush. Suwon is floored by this revelation and asks if the manager is really going to quit her job. Yu confirms she's heading over to our hero's company and that Suwon will be the agency's very first artist. Hearing this, Suwon questions if she really trusts him, since our hero's company is brand new to the scene. Yu says she trusts our main character 100% because he's a reliable person. Suwon is still confused, wondering to herself why the manager trusts the MC so much. Suddenly, an employee bursts in and announces that the front desk called about a surprise waiting downstairs. Yu immediately tells him to turn down whatever it is, saying she doesn't want to accept flowers or gifts from anyone. But the guy explains that the gift is a car and it's already been fully paid for, so they can't really refuse it. Both women are stunned by the news and Suwon suggests they go down and check it out. Arriving downstairs, they're greeted by a celebration with confetti flying everywhere. A saleswoman then asks Yu to step forward to unveil the special gift that's waiting for her. The saleswoman then reveals the present, a luxury pink sports car. Suwon is blown away by the car and says Yu is incredibly lucky to get such an amazing gift. At that moment, the employees start gossiping about the manager's new boyfriend and the 10 million car. The saleswoman hands the keys to the new car over to the manager, who smiles, completely satisfied. She asks who sent the gift, and the woman reveals it was our hero, trying to win her over. Yu gets emotional, thinking that no man has ever treated her this well, and her affection level jumps to 99. Back with our MC, the system notifies him of her affection level and gives him a special reward package. The screen shows a reimbursement card with a limit of up to 500 million and another very interesting item. Our hero then imagines that with this new item, he could have a good time with several girls at once. He thinks the item is great, but he has to use it carefully since the outcome depends on their satisfaction. Then, the system gives him another reward and investment firm for him to manage. He looks over the requirements: an initial investment of 10 million and a minimum return of 10% per year. With a smile, he decides to invest 500 million to get the new company started. The system confirms everything, and just then, the streamer Kyo Yin appears, asking if she woke him up. Our MC gives her a hug and thinks about testing the new card he got from the system on her right then and there. He then decides against using the card for now, saying it's better if they just chill for a bit first. An hour later, they're having breakfast and the girl asks him to stop making donations on her stream. She explains that the platform takes a 70% cut and that he's spent way too much on her. Our hero then asks if she'd prefer he just send the money directly to her. The girl is so surprised by his response that she does a full-on spit take all over the table. Embarrassed, she says he spent 2.5 million and that she feels bad about him spending so much. The hotel manager overhears the conversation and is impressed by the amount our MC spent on the stream. Our MC tells her not to worry about it, and she asks if she can keep doing her streams. He replies that he trusts her and she can do whatever she wants, as long as it's all good. Delighted, Kyoyin decides to change her content to cooking and hunting for interesting stuff online. He encourages her to do what she loves and tells her to let him know if any other streamers give her trouble again. The manager approaches, and he asks to extend his stay at the hotel for 2 more months. Then our hero pulls out his credit card to pay for the new extended stay. The manager is shocked and questions if he really needs to stay in town for that long. At this, Kyoyin reminds him that the daily rate is 80,000, not just 80. With a smirk, our hero says her boss wouldn't be too happy to hear she's turning away customers. The manager argues that spending 4,800,000 for 2 months is a waste if he's not actually going to be there. Kyoyin eats a strawberry and finds it weird that the manager is so concerned about our hero. Curious about the situation, our MC decides to use the system to check her stats. The system screen shows that her beauty is at 90 and her friendship is at 80, with privacy at 0. The main character is shocked and wonders why her friendship level is already so high. The manager wonders if the MC's look was strange and if she might have given herself away by being too forward with him. This gets her thinking about the other women around the main character, and she starts to feel a little insecure. And even knowing he already has 2 other women in his life, the more she gets to know him, the stronger the pull she feels. Arriving at our hero's room, she dismisses the housekeeper, saying she'll personally take care of everything in there. This urge to look after him seems to be something powerful, and she feels an impulse to do things for him. She even finds herself wondering what she would do if our young man asked for something more from her in that moment. Meanwhile, the main character notices the manager's interest and finds the whole situation amusing, but he can't say anything. He then tells her not to worry and to just carry on, as he doesn't like things getting complicated. The manager agrees to do as requested and turns to handle the details of the paperwork. As she's leaving, a coworker finds her and asks why she has such a serious and worried look on her face. The manager then smiles and says that, actually, the client is very easy to deal with and hasn't caused any trouble at all. Her friend then complains that everyone is jealous of her and that she'll probably be dead last on commissions again. She continues to lament, saying it's really hard to find a whale of a client like hers who books for an entire week. The manager then smiles with an air of satisfaction while her colleague encourages her not to get discouraged. The friend then gets closer and says that since her reservation ends today, the 2 of them can go rest together in the dorm. The manager then brushes off her friend, saying she needs to find the general manager to sort out a client matter. Her colleague is completely shocked by the news and asks if he's really going to extend his stay for 2 months. At this, she calculates that the commission will be 240,000 and questions why on earth she would give him a discount. Manager Wang then explains that he mentioned he would be leaving in a few days, and she would have felt awful if she didn't help him out. With a grin, the friend asks if the week has worn her out, and if the hotel client is handsome and charming. Wang gets all flushed, and her colleague notices, saying he sounds like a total catch for being rich and good-looking. Then the friend leans in and whispers a proposal where she would take care of the client and give the manager the entire commission. The manager tells her to get her head out of the clouds, as he spends millions and can have anyone he wants, but the other woman insists. She sighs and wonders what our young Jiang really thinks about her deep down. She then says goodbye to her colleague, telling her they need to talk later, because she's off to find the general manager now. The general manager is super excited by the news and says that a client of this caliber must be personally attended to by him. 10 minutes later, our hero finds the bill a bit odd, since a daily rate of 80,000 for 2 months should add up to a higher total. Then, the system congratulates him for using the rebate card and informs him that he has received 380 million. Just then, someone knocks on the door, and through the peephole, he sees the general manager with 2 other people looking for him. The MC opens the door, and the man introduces himself while handing over a business card, thanking him for his trust. The general manager informs him that because of Wang's discount, our hero will now have super VIP benefits and a permanent 20% discount. Our young man realizes it was a discount and thinks to himself that the manager's kindness almost cost him 100 million in rebate money. But he reflects that she was willing to cut into her own commission and thinks that the manager has the qualities of a good woman. The main character then shakes the general manager's hand, suggesting they be friends, and the man agrees on the spot. With that, the president asks manager Wang to take very good care of his new friend and to treat his requests with the utmost priority. The general manager then takes his leave, saying he won't bother him any longer and hopes he enjoys his stay. Our hero watches manager Wang, who seems a little nervous as she says her goodbyes. Back in the room, the streamer jumps into our hero's lap, saying she never wants to leave this place. Our young man then says he has things to do, but if she wants, she can stay there by herself without him. She then complains that her friends invited her out and she canceled all her plans just to be with him. He then comforts her, saying he'll come find her as soon as he's free, and she seems to agree. 1 hour later, our hero is leaving and runs into Yu, who was waiting outside, waving at him. She then moves closer to thank him and gives him a very affectionate kiss on the cheek. Suddenly, a man appears, pointing and shouting at her, calling her a pretty offensive name. The man then threatens her, saying she'd better marry him, or he'll throw himself into the river right in front of her. The main character asks Yu if she hadn't already sorted this situation out with her crazy ex-fiancé. She explains that the guy won't stop stalking her and even shows up at her office, but she didn't want to bother the MC with it. The ex-fiancé then gets angry and accuses the two of being a cheating couple, meeting up behind his back. Yu asks our hero not to pay attention to his nonsense and for them to just leave. The ex-fiancé then completely loses it, threatening to tell everyone everything and jump into the river, blaming them for what happens to him. With that, he lunges forward and grabs Yu by the arm, leaving her completely terrified by his actions. Seeing this, the main character steps in front of them and tells the aggressor to back off immediately, protecting Yu. Seeing his rival's audacity, our hero grabs him by the collar and asks if he's finally looking to get his butt kicked right then and there. He then calls over the security guards and, with a smirk, offers 5 million to each of them if they help him with his little payback scheme. Our protagonist explains that they should pretend the rival tried to jump into the river and then rescue him very, very slowly on purpose. The classmate starts to panic and asks if Jiang Cheng is trying to hire hitmen in broad daylight. Totally lost, the security guards get confused and ask if our guy is joking around with such a crazy offer. Jiang Cheng says he can pay upfront and promises to get them the best lawyers if any of them end up in the slammer. The guards are tempted by the cash and figure that earning 10 million for a little jail time is a heck of a deal. The rival gets desperate and tries to warn them, saying that taking someone out is a super serious and unforgivable crime. The guy tries to back away in fear, but the guards yell at him to just jump in the river already so they can get the job over with. He then confronts our hero, betting he doesn't have the guts to do anything, but Jiang Cheng just smirks at him with contempt. Our guy then offers 100,000 on the spot and tells them to rough the dude up until he's out cold on the ground. One of the guards pulls out his phone and is shocked to see that the promised money actually hit his bank account. With the money in hand, the security guards go after the rival, who doesn't even stand a chance against the thrashing that's coming his way. So, the guards surround the guy and start laying into him, while our protagonist watches the whole show from a front row seat. Just then, the stunning Yu Shio shows up and asks Jiang Cheng to just let it go, saying it's not worth starting a fight. Our hero tells her not to worry, because he's going to settle things once and for all. 5 minutes later, the guards thank him and offer their services for any future jobs. Jiang Cheng tells Yushi that he's going to take care of that Zhang Yu guy, and she agrees with him. At that moment, the system detects our guy's emotion and rewards him with a private security company. He's thrilled because with a professional team, dealing with idiots won't be a problem anymore. So, our guy, all excited, asks the young woman to go check out some locations for their new company. The woman is surprised and asks if he really has the energy for that after all the chaos. But he replies that he's not going to let some nobody mess up his plans, and the two head out. Soon after, they arrive at a huge, imposing building, the World Financial Center. Once in the office, he says the place is perfect for launching the entertainment company. She agrees, saying that with a few changes, they can start operating right away. With a mischievous grin, our protagonist invites the blonde to sit with him for a bit. The young woman then goes to the window and closes the blinds, making the atmosphere much more intimate. After that, she approaches him in a very provocative way and kneels in front of him. And the two of them enjoy the moment alone in the new office, getting much closer. Our hero plays dumb and asks what she's doing, since he only invited her to sit for a bit. The girl then calls him a goofball and says if he keeps up the act, she's not going to talk to him anymore. She turns the tables and asks if he'd prefer her to sit on top of him to solve the situation. Our protagonist, with a smile on his face, replies that she can do whatever makes her happiest in that moment. With that, things heat up even more. He pulls her closer, intensifying the moment between them. The blonde seems to be really enjoying the situation, savoring every second of that special moment. He returns to his villa, and the manager greets him, asking if he'd like dinner or a bath. The woman seems to have other plans in mind, thinking about the special massage she's going to give our hero. Jiang Cheng decides to have dinner first and passes on the bath for now, leaving the manager a bit surprised by his choice. The young woman is a little disappointed, as she had prepared some new tricks to make her service even better than last time. With no other choice, the manager serves dinner to our protagonist, who enjoys his meal peacefully. He then teases her, saying that today just wasn't her day to be so proactive, but that there's always a next time. The next day, at a car event, he runs into his friend from the auction, who greets him, surprised to see him there. Just then, another guy arrives with a stunning woman and greets the group, who are chatting away. The blonde friend is stunned by the woman's beauty, commenting that her figure and body are like a movie star's. Our protagonist recognizes the woman as Zhou Ying and notices that she seems really sad to be there at the event. Suddenly, a creepy guy starts taking pictures of her from a low angle, and the woman gets super uncomfortable with the situation. The jerk even mocks her, saying that if she dresses like that, he can take whatever pictures he wants, and there's nothing she can do about it. Our guy gets furious seeing this and the man's complete lack of respect for his childhood friend. So, without a second thought, Jiang Cheng charges the guy and lands a solid kick on him, sending his phone flying. In the middle of the negotiation, some guy stumbles in front of the car and hits the ground, yelling that his shot was ruined. With a smirk, Jiang Cheng says the guy just slipped and offers to pay for his broken phone. But the aggressor ignores the offer and gets up furious, preparing to attack our hero right then and there. The man then lunges forward and tries to land a punch right in our protagonist's face without a second thought. Our boy smiles because, according to the law, he now has the right to defend himself from the assault. He dodges the attack and lands a clean shot right on the other guy's chin, who never even saw it coming. The rival drops to the ground, completely knocked out, and our protagonist stands there victoriously over him. Jiang Cheng then turns to the manager and asks him to call the police and save the security camera footage. The manager obeys and runs desperately to the phone, asking them to call security and the police. Our guy's new friends praise him for the punch, and he says the incident has soured his view of the city. One of the buddies then comments that they're decent people and don't share the guy's weird kinks. Just then, the model approaches and asks if Jiang Cheng is okay, and he says the important thing is that she's safe. His friends then comment that it's no wonder he got so mad, since the whole thing was over her. Our hero then explains that the young woman is his old schoolmate, and her name is Zhou Ying. He then introduces his friends Wang Zheng and Chen Hao to the girl, who greets them. The girl then asks if he's there to look at cars again that day. Our guy says he's going to buy a gift for his dad and asks her out for later. With that, she accepts the invitation and says she'll call after work, so he decides to look around. A friend asks if he's eyeing a supercar, and a salesperson immediately approaches. The salesperson says the price is $2 million, and our hero asks about the delivery. The employee confirms nationwide delivery and says they also help with the vehicle registration. With a smile, our protagonist simply hands over his card to finalize the purchase. Jiang Cheng asks them to prepare a special delivery ceremony to surprise his father. His friends are shocked that he would call a supercar something low key right in front of them. One of them comments that our hero is extravagant for buying so many expensive cars. The friend says he had to beg for a car, while our hero is gifting one to his father. After paying, he calls the girl over to leave, thinking about how she's the prettiest girl from their school. In the car, he asks if she's going back to school now that the vacation is over. The girl talks about her family's bankruptcy and how she now needs to work to support herself. She says she doesn't care about gossip because earning her own money is more real. Our guy says a beautiful woman like her shouldn't have money problems, but she replies that nobody ever explains how to get it. She feels indebted to him for helping her twice, and he laughs, thinking she seemed distant, but is actually very down to earth. Our protagonist says it's all just food, so it makes no difference, and they speed off in the car through the city. They arrive at a restaurant that looks like a farmhouse for the get-together with their friends. When they arrive, their friends welcome them and invite them to sit at the table they've prepared. One of the buddies sees another guy arriving and gets annoyed, wondering who invited him to the party. He whispers that the guy's name is Wang Qiang, and he has some beef with their friend, so he suggests Jiang Cheng treat him well. Wang Zheng greets the newcomer, who hates being called by a specific nickname, and is accompanied by two girls. One of the guys tries to cool things down, saying they're there to make friends, but the other guy seems pretty ticked off. Everyone sits down at the table, which is loaded with food, and one of them compliments the main dish, suggesting they start drinking. Half an hour later, the rival boasts about getting a stock tip that's going to guarantee him a huge profit. A guy asks for help, and Wang Qiang gives him a lecture about choosing friends wisely instead of picking freeloaders. Chen Hao gets furious, realizing the rival's speech was a not so subtle jab at him and our hero. So he confronts the guy and calls in a 2 million debt from 2 years ago, since he's so loaded with cash now. The friend loses his patience and stands up, ready for a fight, questioning if the rival thinks he's special for being called by the nickname. Jiang Cheng tries to calm his friend down, asking him not to ruin the party with unpleasantness. The rival gets annoyed by the interruption and slams his drink on the table, yelling about who gave him the right to speak. As he does, the drink goes flying and ends up staining the girl's entire blouse, scaring her. Our protagonist then comforts her and shoots a furious glare at the aggressor. Sitting at the table, the rival stands up furious and yells, asking what Wang Qiang's problem is. One of the buddies questions if the guy only came to the event to start trouble. Another acquaintance thinks to himself that everyone's tune has changed and now they're all defending Jiang Cheng. He warns the guy not to make a scene since they're there for a mutual friends get-together. Blondie gets ticked off and slams the table, fed up with hearing everyone gassing up the new guy. At that moment, our protagonist demands that he apologize for getting the model's outfit dirty. The young woman tries to defuse the situation, saying it's okay and that he doesn't need to worry about it. Blondie refuses to apologize and even calls him trash, trying to pick a fight. Without a second thought, Jiang Cheng lands a solid slap right across the meddling Blondie's face. He quickly turns the guy into his personal punching bag and lands another slap on the other side for good measure. Our protagonist wonders if the guy really thinks he's some kind of pushover to be insulted like that. The aggressor is shocked by the pain and angrily asks how he dared to hit him. Jiang Cheng sarcastically suggests he should probably see a neurologist after those slaps. Losing his mind, the blonde idiot grabs a chair to attack Jiang Cheng as a friend yells for our boy to watch out. But our MC kicks the chair right back, sending it flying into the punk's face. One of the buddies tells the fallen aggressor that he brought this on himself and tells him to get lost. But the little punk gets up with some help and threatens Jiang Cheng, saying this isn't over. Jiang Cheng asks about the idiot's background and finds out his family is in the food business. Smitten and smirk, he thinks he's about to see just how capable the rival's family really is. The model then asks if she caused any trouble, but he says it was nothing and invites her to leave with him. Jiang Cheng says goodbye to his friends, mentioning they've had enough to drink and it's time to head out. The guys apologize for what happened, but he tells them not to worry about the formalities. Arriving at the car, he hands the key to the young woman and asks if she knows how to drive. She jokes she was a famous heiress and promises to get him to his destination safely. She mentions it's been a while since she's driven a supercar and that she'd love to open up it. With that, the car shoots off at high speed, and he's surprised to find out she's into racing. The young woman explains that her family was very strict, and she never got the chance to race before. Jiang Cheng promises to take her to a real race the next chance he gets. Once out of the car, she thanks him and says she'll always remember all his help. But it's getting late and he should get some rest, so she shyly says goodbye and hands back the key. He watches her leave and wonders why she ran off so suddenly, guessing it might have been out of shyness. But he decides not to dwell on it, as he needs to focus on the business he has to take care of. He remembers the security team the system gave him and decides to test their performance. Just then, he stumbles upon a bizarre news story online about pickled cabbage that smells like stinky feet. Lying in bed, our protagonist discovers that the food safety problems of Wang Qian's family have gone viral. A moment later, one of his friends calls to tell him that the rival's family's nasty products have been exposed. Jiang Cheng confirms he's aware, adding that even their rotten raw materials were revealed. With suppliers pulling the products, the company's reputation was completely trashed. The friend remembers what our hero said the day before. He recalls the words, "I'm gonna see what that blonde idiot's family is really made of." Our boy comments shocked that the Wang family is gonna take a massive loss because of this. The other guy agrees, saying he knew from the start that Jiang Cheng wasn't just some ordinary guy. Meanwhile, at the Wang family home, the rival's father is frantically on the phone, trying to handle the crisis. The man hangs up furiously, wondering who could be trying to sabotage his business. His son approaches and asks his dad what happened to make him so worried. Just then, the father notices his son's swollen face and angrily asks what kind of trouble he's gotten into now. The kid explains he got beat up by some arrogant country bumpkin and is already planning his revenge. The father then slaps his son and scolds him for doing nothing but stir up trouble all day like some gangster. Suddenly, the father connects the dots, suspecting the fight has something to do with their company's problems. He then says in despair that the company lost 40% of its market share overnight.